Part 9. A new beginning. Tay's arms remained wrapped around you, warm and steady, as the sounds of the city faded into the background. You closed your eyes for a moment, allowing yourself to sink into the safety of his embrace. Everything felt surreal. The soft twinkling of the fairy lights, the scent of roses lingering in the air, the weight of the ring on your finger, it was overwhelming, but in the best way possible. Tay pulled back slightly, his hand still holding your waist as he gazed down at you with a mixture of tenderness and relief. "You're really okay with this?" he asked softly, almost as if he still couldn't believe it. You bit your lip, glancing at the ring, before looking back into his deep, expectant eyes. "I wouldn't have said yes if I wasn't." A slow smile stretched across his lips, but then, his expression shifted into something more teasing. "You know," he murmured, tilting his head, "this means you're officially mine now." Your breath caught at the possessive tone in his voice. The way his fingers brushed against your waist sent a shiver down your spine. You rolled your eyes, though your cheeks betrayed you, by heating up. "I don't remember signing a contract." Tay smirked, leaning down slightly so his lips hovered dangerously close to yours. "Too late, little kitty," he whispered. "You put on my ring. That's binding enough." Your heart pounded against your ribcage. "That's not how that works," you muttered weakly, trying, and failing, to keep your composure. Tay hummed in amusement, his gaze dropping momentarily to your lips before he stepped back, as if sensing your flustered state. "Come on," he said, slipping his fingers through yours. "Let's go." You blinked up at him. "Where?" "Home," he answered simply. Your stomach flipped at the casual way he said it, like it was already something natural, something inevitable. Tay led you to his car, opening the passenger door for you before rounding to the driver's side. The drive was mostly quiet, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that carried weight, filled with unspoken thoughts and stolen glances. You caught Tay sneaking glances at you from time to time, his lips twitching as if he wanted to say something, but held back. "What?" you finally asked, raising an eyebrow. He grinned, drumming his fingers against the steering wheel. "Nothing." You narrowed your eyes. "Liar." Tay chuckled, his deep voice vibrating through the car. "I'm just thinking," he trailed off for a moment, before continuing. "This is the second time we're going home, together." Your breath hitched. He wasn't wrong. Before tonight, Tay had always been a presence in your life, intense, teasing, protective. But now, after everything, the space between you had changed. It was no longer uncertain. It was something real. Something that belonged to both of you. Your fingers absent-mindedly brushed over the ring on your finger as you stared at him. "Yeah," you murmured. "It is." Tay's grip on the wheel tightened slightly. His gaze flickered toward you, and something unreadable passed through his eyes. He didn't say anything else, but the look he gave you spoke volumes. He wasn't letting you go. Not now. Not ever. When you arrived at Tay's penthouse, a familiar warmth settled in your chest. You had been here before, but stepping inside now, after everything that had happened, it felt different. It felt like stepping into something permanent. Tay locked the door behind him and loosened his tie, tossing his suit jacket over the back of the couch. His dark eyes found yours again, and a playful smirk tugged at his lips. "You're staring," he teased. You rolled your eyes, turning away. "I was not." "Liar." You scoffed, but before you could retort, he was suddenly behind you, his arms wrapping around your waist. His breath tickled your ear as he whispered, "Are you nervous?" You swallowed hard. "Should I be?" Tay chuckled, his grip tightening slightly. "I don't know," he mused. "You tell me." Your cheeks burned as you turned in his hold, meeting his gaze head-on. "You really don't play fair, do you?" He grinned. "Nope." For a moment, neither of you spoke. The air between you crackled with something unspoken, something inevitable. Then, Tay reached up, brushing a strand of hair behind your ear. His voice dropped to a husky whisper. I meant what I said earlier. You swallowed, your voice barely audible. About what? About you being mine, he murmured, tilting your chin up gently with his fingers. And about never letting you go. Your heart pounded. Tay's eyes searched yours, giving you the chance to pull away, to stop him. But you didn't. Instead, you whispered, then prove it. His gaze darkened. And then his lips were on yours. The moment Tay's lips met yours, the world outside ceased to exist. The teasing, the doubts, the hesitation, all melted away, replaced by the quiet, electric hum of something inevitable. His kiss was slow at first, almost as if he was savoring the moment. His hands rested lightly on your waist, his warmth seeping through the thin fabric of your dress. His lips were soft but firm, coaxing rather than demanding. And yet, despite the gentleness of his touch, there was an underlying intensity, one that sent a shiver down your spine. Tay was always controlled, always measured. But this? This was different. This was a promise sealed with a kiss. When you finally pulled away, your breath came in shallow gasps. Tay's forehead rested lightly against yours, his hand still holding you in place as if afraid you might disappear. His dark eyes met yours, heavy-lidded and filled with something unspoken. I've been wanting to do that for a long time, he murmured, his voice husky. Your lips tingled, your mind still fogged with the remnants of his kiss. You could have fooled me, you whispered, teasing despite the racing of your heart. Tay let out a soft chuckle, his fingers tracing slow, lazy circles against your lower back. Trust me, little kitty, he said, his voice thick with amusement. I've been patient. You swallowed, suddenly all too aware of how close he still was. The air between you was charged, filled with the kind of tension that made your skin prickle with anticipation. But then, Tay pulled back slightly, his gaze searching yours. You're tired, he murmured, his thumb brushing lightly against your cheek. I should let you rest. The tenderness in his voice sent another shiver through you. You nodded slowly, though part of you didn't want to let go just yet. Yeah. I think that would be a good idea. Tay smiled, pressing a lingering kiss to your forehead before stepping back. Come on, I'll show you to your room. You followed Tay through the dimly lit hallway of his penthouse, the soft glow from the city lights filtering in through the floor-to-ceiling windows. He led you to a spacious bedroom, one that was clearly prepared for you, though you doubted he had made the arrangements last minute. Is this? You trailed off, turning to him with raised eyebrows. I had it set up a while ago, Tay admitted, leaning against the doorway. Just in case. Your lips parted slightly, your heart doing something odd in your chest. The thought that he had been preparing for this moment, long before you even realized how deeply he felt, sent warmth flooding through you. You're impossible, you murmured, shaking your head. Tay smirked. And yet, here you are. You rolled your eyes, though the smile on your face was impossible to hide. He pushed off the doorway, taking a step closer. Get some sleep, he said softly, reaching up to tuck a strand of hair behind your ear. I'll be right down the hall if you need anything. Your throat tightened at the gentle sincerity in his voice. You nodded. Good night, Tay. His lips curled into a small smile. Good night, little kitty. And with that, he stepped away, leaving you standing in the middle of a room that no longer felt unfamiliar. You weren't sure what woke you first, the faint scent of coffee drifting through the air, or the sound of faint shuffling from the kitchen. Blinking against the soft sunlight filtering through the curtains, you stretched, your body still warm from sleep. For a moment, everything felt surreal. The confession. The ring. The kiss. But as you glanced down at the delicate band on your finger, reality set in. Tay. A small smile tugged at your lips as you pushed back the covers and padded toward the kitchen. As expected, Tay was already awake, standing by the counter with a mug of coffee in hand. He had discarded his usual suit jacket, his sleeves rolled up to his forearms as he leaned lazily against the counter. At the sound of your footsteps, he turned, a slow smile spreading across his face. Morning, sleepyhead, he teased, his voice still thick with sleep. You huffed, rubbing your eyes. You're too cheerful for this early. Tay chuckled, setting his coffee down before pulling a second mug from the counter. I made you coffee, he said, handing it to you. But I wasn't sure how you take it, so. You stared at the mug in your hands, warmth flooding through you for an entirely different reason. Tay, the enigmatic CEO, the man who had spent years avoiding attachment, had made you coffee. It was such a small gesture. And yet, it meant everything. You took a sip, humming in approval. It's good. Tay raised an eyebrow. You sound surprised. You smirked over the rim of your mug. I just didn't think someone who lives off black coffee and intimidation would know how to make a proper cup. Tay scoffed, crossing his arms. I can be domestic. You laughed. Sure, Mr. Mafia CEO. What's next? Are you going to knit me a sweater? He smirked, leaning closer. Would you wear it if I did? Your cheeks warmed. That depends. Would it have little cats on it? Tay tilted his head, pretending to consider. If that's what my little kitty wants. You nearly choked on your coffee, swatting at his arm. You're ridiculous. And yet, he murmured, his fingers tracing the rim of his mug as his eyes darkened slightly, you're still here. Your heart skipped a beat at the underlying meaning behind his words. Tay reached for your hand, brushing his thumb over your knuckles before glancing at the ring still resting on your finger. I like seeing this on you, he admitted, his voice quieter now. You swallowed, suddenly unable to find the words. Tay looked up, his gaze locking onto yours. No regrets? You shook your head, a small smile playing on your lips. None. His shoulders relaxed, and a slow, satisfied grin spread across his face. Good, he murmured. Because I meant what I said last night. Your heart pounded as he took another step closer, his presence overwhelming in the best way. You're mine, YN, he whispered, his fingers trailing down your arm. And I don't plan on letting you go. Your breath hitched, your mind swimming from his words, his touch. You should have been nervous. You should have been overwhelmed. But standing there, wrapped in the quiet intimacy of the moment, you realized something. You weren't afraid anymore. Because, for the first time in a long time, you had someone who wasn't just promising to stay. You had someone who actually would. Your fingers were still wrapped around your mug, but Tay had set his aside, his hands instead settling around your waist as he pulled you into a loose embrace. You know, he murmured, his voice low and teasing, I could get used to this. You hummed, leaning into his warmth. Used to what? Tay's lips brushed against your temple, his breath fanning against your skin. Waking up with you. Holding you like this. Your cheeks heated, but before you could respond, a loud, sleepy voice interrupted the moment. Hyung, do we have more? Both you and Tay turned just in time to see JK shuffling into the kitchen, his hair messy from sleep, his oversized t-shirt hanging loosely over his sweatpants. His eyes were half-lidded, still lost in the fog of sleep, until they landed on the sight before him. Tay. Holding you. In his arms. For a full 5 seconds, JK just stood there, completely still, his brain clearly struggling to process what he was seeing. Then, suddenly, he blinked rapidly, rubbing his eyes aggressively as if trying to clear his vision. Wait, he mumbled, his voice hoarse from sleep. Am I dreaming? Tay chuckled, tightening his hold on you slightly. Morning, Kooky. JK squinted at the two of you, then at the ring glinting on your finger. His eyes widened, his sleepiness disappearing in an instant. No. Freaking. Way. You opened your mouth to say something, but before you could. Haha. It's not a dream, Kooky. JK spun around just in time to see Hoseok strolling into the kitchen, a huge grin stretching across his face. His eyes flickered between you and Tay, amusement dancing in his expression. Hyung, you knew? JK practically shrieked, his voice cracking. Hosiok snorted. Of course, I knew. Who do you think has been watching Tae suffer over this for months? JK's jaw dropped. What the hell? And you didn't tell me? You would have been too dramatic, Hosiok teased, ruffling JK's already messy hair. JK groaned, running a hand down his face in disbelief before turning back to you and Tae. His eyes landed on your hand again, and his mouth fell open. Wait. The ring. You're wearing a freaking ring. Hosiok leaned against the counter, a slow, mischievous grin spreading across his face as he looked between you and Tae. So, Hyung, you finally did it, huh? Tae sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Here we go. JK, who had finally started processing reality, let out an exaggerated gasp. Hyung, this is huge. We need details. When? How? Did you prepare a whole dramatic speech? Did you stumble over your words? Did you cry? Tae shot him a flat look. No, I didn't cry. Hosiok snickered, crossing his arms. But you were planning it for ages, weren't you? JK's eyes widened. Oh my god. You were. He turned to you excitedly. YN, you have no idea how long this guy has been obsessing over this moment. You raised an eyebrow, turning to Tae with a smirk. Oh? So someone has been planning this for a while? Tae groaned, running a hand through his hair. Don't encourage them. Hosiok laughed, nudging JK. Remember all those times he sat in the living room, staring at his phone like a lovesick fool? You think he was running some high-stakes business deal? Nope. He was probably typing, deleting, and retyping a text to you. JK gasped dramatically. It all makes sense now. Tae glared. I hate you both. Hosiok grinned. And we love you, Hyung. Especially when you make it this easy. JK clasped his hands together, looking at Tae with exaggerated admiration. Hyung, you're an inspiration. A true romantic. The way you pined for months. Tae groaned. JK. But finally, JK continued dramatically. JK. You confessed. JK. And she said yes. Tae grabbed a kitchen towel and threw it at JK, who dodged it effortlessly, cackling. See? This is why I didn't tell you sooner. Hosiok grinned, leaning toward you. So, YN, what did it? The roses? The notes? The puppy eyes? You laughed, looking at Tae, who was now glaring at Hosiok. Honestly? It was all of it. How could I say no after everything he did? Tae huffed. I don't do puppy eyes. JK gasped, clutching his chest. Oh, he so does. Hosiok nodded. The big sad eyes? The subtle sighs? The broody silence when he missed you? JK wagged his finger at Tae. Don't even try to deny it, Hyung. You suffered for this moment. Tae shook his head, pretending to be annoyed, but the small smile tugging at his lips gave him away. I really do hate you both. JK and Hosiok exchanged a look before dramatically saying in unison, we love you too, Hyung. Tae exhaled, pulling you closer as if to shield himself from their teasing. This is my life now, huh? You giggled, resting your head against his shoulder. Yep. Get used to it. Hosiok smirked. You know, Tae, I have never seen you this happy before. It's kind of scary. JK nodded, grinning. Seriously. I feel like I should document this moment. Maybe frame a picture of you smiling and hang it in the living room. Tae rolled his eyes. You're both insufferable. But admit it, Hosiok said, nudging Tae. You're happier than you've ever been. Tae glanced down at you, his expression softening. His arm tightened slightly around your waist before he looked back at his friends, his smile genuine this time. Yeah, he said quietly. I am. JK clutched his chest. Oh my god, he's gone. We've lost him. Hosiak laughed. And honestly? I'm happy for you, man. JK nodded, this time more sincerely. Yeah, me too. I mean, we'll keep teasing you forever, but you deserve this, Hyung. Tae smiled. Thanks, guys. JK grinned. Now, about the wedding. Tae grabbed the kitchen towel again. Don't start. JK and Hosiak burst into laughter as you shook your head, smiling. Yeah. You could get used to this. A new family. As the laughter died down, you leaned against the counter, feeling something warm settle in your chest. This moment, this chaotic, teasing, love-filled moment, felt like home. And that realization made your heart squeeze. Then, as if reading your thoughts, Hosiak clapped his hands together. Alright, YN, now that you're officially one of us, it's time to make it official. You blinked. Official? JK nodded seriously. Yeah. You don't just get engaged to Tae and expect to escape the initiation. You narrowed your eyes. And what exactly is the initiation? Hosiak grinned, placing a dramatic hand over his heart. You have to call us by our real names. You frowned. Real names? JK smirked. Yep. Not Jungkook or Hosiak. That's too formal. He leaned in, eyes sparkling with mischief. We're family now, YN. And family uses nicknames. You stifled a laugh, playing along. Oh? And what are these real names of yours? JK grinned and dramatically pointed at himself. I'm Kookie. World-class performer, #1 heartbreaker, and Tae's biggest headache. He winked. You laughed. Kookie? That's adorable. JK gasped, placing a hand on his chest as if you had just delivered the ultimate insult. Adorable? No, no, no. I am a strong, intimidating man. A force to be reckoned with. Hosiak snorted. Sure, Kookie. JK pouted. You guys don't respect me. Hosiak turned to you, striking a confident pose. And I am Hobie. The sunshine, the energy, the life of this household. He twirled dramatically before flashing you his signature heart-shaped smile. Welcome to the family, YN. You grinned. So I have a Kookie and a Hobie. Got it. JK and Hosiak cheered, satisfied, as if you had just passed some sacred ritual. Then, Hosiak wiggled his eyebrows. Okay, now that that's settled, back to wedding talk. Tae groaned, already reaching for the kitchen towel. No. After what felt like an eternity of playful teasing, Hosiak and JK finally backed off, mostly because JK needed coffee before he could continue his dramatics. Taking the opportunity for some alone time, you gently tugged on Tae's hand and led him to the living room. As soon as the two of you were away from prying ears, Tae sighed in relief, flopping onto the couch and pulling you down beside him. He wrapped his arm around your waist, his fingers tracing small circles against your side. Well, that was a lot, he murmured. You smiled. You survived. Barely. He turned his head to look at you, his eyes warm and affectionate. You really don't regret this? You shook your head. Not even a little. Tae grinned, leaning in to press a soft kiss against your temple. You felt your heart flutter at the simple yet intimate gesture. But then, the moment of warmth was replaced by something heavier. There was something you needed to say. You took a deep breath before speaking. Tae, there's something I've been thinking about. He hummed, tilting his head. What is it? You hesitated for a second before carefully choosing your words. I think we should keep our relationship a secret. At least for now. Tae blinked, his relaxed posture immediately shifting. Wait. What? You swallowed. I mean, just at work. I don't think we should tell anyone there yet. Tae frowned, sitting up slightly. Why? You sighed, looking down at your hands. Because I don't want special treatment. Tae's brows furrowed. Special treatment? You nodded. I worked really hard to get to where I am. If people find out that I'm dating you, one of the most influential people in the company, they might think I got this job because of you. They'll assume I'm being favored. Tae's jaw tightened. That's ridiculous. You're amazing at what you do. Anyone who thinks otherwise is an idiot. You smiled softly. I know you think that. But people talk, Tae. And I don't want my work to be overshadowed by gossip. I want people to respect me for my skills, not because I'm dating you. Tae exhaled, his fingers tapping against his thigh as he processed your words. I get what you're saying, but, keeping it a secret? That just feels, he trailed off, his lips pressing together in frustration. You reached for his hand, intertwining your fingers. It's not because I'm ashamed of us. It's just, I want to be seen as me first. Not as Kim Tae-young's girlfriend. Tae's expression softened slightly, but you could still see the hesitation in his eyes. How long? You hesitated. I don't know. Just until I prove myself. Tae sighed, running a hand through his hair. I hate the idea of hiding you, he admitted, his voice quieter now. I want to show you off. To let everyone know you're mine. You squeezed his hand. I know. And I'm sorry. But it's important to me. Tae stared at you for a long moment before finally sighing in defeat. Fine. You blinked. Really? He nodded. I don't like it, but I understand. And if it's important to you, I'll respect it. You smiled in relief. Thank you. Tae huffed. But the second I hear someone doubting your skills, I will personally set them straight. You laughed. Deal. A smirk tugged at the corner of his lips as he pulled you closer, his nose brushing against yours. You do realize this means we'll have to sneak around now, he murmured, his voice dripping with amusement. You rolled your eyes. I think I'll manage. His smirk widened before he leaned in, his lips brushing against your ear as he whispered, let's see how long that lasts, little kitty. Just as Tae leaned in to kiss you, a loud voice interrupted. What are you two whispering about? You both turned to see JK standing in the doorway, suspiciously holding his coffee mug like he was ready to interrogate you. Hoseok stood behind him, smirking. Tae groaned. Can we get one moment of peace? JK squinted. Wait a second. Are you two planning something? Are you eloping? You rolled your eyes. Oh my god, Cookie. Hoseok grinned. Sounds like a secret. JK gasped. Oh no. I knew it. You're hiding something. Tae buried his face in his hands. I hate my life. You just laughed, leaning into Tae as JK and Hoseok continued their dramatic theories. Tae might not have loved the idea of keeping your relationship a secret, but with the way things were going, you knew one thing for sure. It wouldn't be boring. And honestly? You wouldn't have it any other way. The drive to the company was unusually quiet, but the air between you and Tae crackled with something unspoken. His fingers drummed lightly against the steering wheel, his other hand resting on the gearshift, close enough to brush against your thigh every now and then. You had barely recovered from the chaotic morning with JK and Hoseok, and now, as you sat beside Tae, you felt the weight of what lay ahead. Your relationship was official, but keeping it a secret at work was going to be the real challenge. As the company building loomed in the distance, Tae let out a small sigh, stealing a glance at you. You sure about this? He asked, voice smooth but laced with mild irritation. You turned to him, nodding. Yes, Tae. I don't want anyone treating me differently just because I'm dating the CEO. Tae huffed. I still don't like it. I know. You gave him a soft smile. But this is important to me. His jaw clenched slightly before he exhaled in resignation. Fine, he muttered, pulling into the private underground parking lot of the company. He shifted the car into park but didn't move to get out. Instead, he turned toward you fully, his dark eyes locked onto yours with an expression that sent a warm shiver down your spine. "I'm agreeing to keep it a secret," he said, voice dropping an octave, "but I want something in return." You swallowed, suddenly wary. "What kind of something?" Tay smirked, leaning in slightly. "A goodbye kiss." Your eyes widened. What? He tilted his head, feigning innocence. "What? You're my girlfriend now. Can't I get a goodbye kiss before we go into work?" Your face felt like it was on fire. "Tay, we're at work. And we're literally inside the company parking lot. Someone could see us." He chuckled, clearly amused by your reaction. "We're in the car. No one can see." You gulped, looking around nervously. "Be but still." Tay sighed dramatically, sitting back with a hand over his heart. "Wow. My own girlfriend won't even give me a goodbye kiss. This is heartbreaking." You groaned, covering your face with your hands. "You are so dramatic." He leaned in even more, his breath warm against your lips. "Come on, little kitty. Just one. You wouldn't want me to start the workday unsatisfied, would you?" You groaned, covering your face. He chuckled. You sighed in defeat, knowing there was no winning against him. You groaned. "Fine. Just close your eyes." Tay raised an eyebrow, but did as you asked, closing his eyes with a victorious smile. Your heart pounded as you quickly leaned in, pressing the lightest peck to his cheek before pulling away. "There. Happy now?" Tay's eyes opened slowly, and blinked at you. Then, he scoffed. "That's it?" You flushed. "That's all you're getting?" Tay clicked his tongue, shaking his head. "Nope. Not enough." Before you could react, his hand cupped the side of your face, and in one smooth movement, he pulled you in, capturing your lips in a deep, thorough kiss. Your breath hitched as his lips moved against yours, slow and deliberate, savoring every second. Your fingers curled slightly against your lap, your body betraying you as warmth spread from your chest to the tips of your toes. When Tay finally pulled away, he smirked at your dazed expression. "Now that's a proper goodbye kiss." You stared at him, breathless and completely flustered. "Why you?" He grinned. "Love you too, sweetheart." You groaned, quickly grabbing your bag and opening the door. "I'm leaving." Tay laughed as he watched you rush toward the elevator. "See you upstairs, little kitty." In next part. Emma, along with a few other coworkers, was already waiting for you, their eyes sharp with curiosity. "YN?" Emma called, striding toward you with a saccharine smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. You froze, schooling your expression into one of innocence. "Oh, hey, Emma. Why did Jean just congratulations at you? Did you get a promotion?" "YN, be honest," Emma pressed, eyeing you suspiciously. You felt yourself sweat under her gaze. Your soul left your body.
Hey, dear Army, this is my dear diary. We're always looking to share more stories and novels. If you like our video, please subscribe to our channel. Your likes, comments, and subscriptions are my biggest motivation. More exciting and interesting novels updated every day. Thank you.